Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 250,000 subscribers. So you may recall I've told you now's not the time to unsubscribe. It's the time to subscribe and share because there's always going to be something going on at Camp Trump. So imagine the infighting that's going on right now. I watched it in 2016 through 2017. I watched as one fought the other, everybody jockeying for power and time in Trump's ear. Well, now, who's on the chopping block? Boris Epshteyn. Why? Because Trump has asked his legal team to look into Boris after they found evidence that he's asking for, get a load of this, he's asking for retainer fees from potential appointees. This is for the transition in order to promote them for jobs in the new administration. Talk about a pay-for-play scam, right? And if you stay towards the end, you'll understand more pay-for-play schemes. Here's an article that came up that I want to start by showing you. This goes back to in 2020, as Trump was leaving, there were a slew, I think it was either 72 or 73 pardons that came out. And the United States Department of Justice unveiled a bribery inquiry claiming that those pardons were paid to play. Now, of course, Boris denies the allegations. And listen, it's their obligation to go ahead and to prove it. Take that down. Because I want to show you a clip from CNN of them breaking down the situation that I just discussed. Play that clip.
We are following more breaking news involving the president-elect. Sources tell CNN that Trump's lawyers are investigating allegations that a top aide sought to gain financially from his influence with the president-elect.
We have CNN's Sarah Murray on this. Sarah, tell us what you're learning.
Well, we're learning that lawyers for Trump have been investigating whether Boris Epshteyn sought to gain financially from his access to Donald Trump and others in Trump's orbit. Now, this internal investigation that was confirmed to me, Kristen Holmes, and our colleague Kate Sullivan by half a dozen sources. Again, this is an internal investigation. This is not a criminal investigation. In one instance, though, the investigators looking into this learned that Boris Epshteyn requested as much as $100,000 per month in exchange for his services in one of these instances. And I want to tell you what Boris Epshteyn said in response to this reporting. He said, "I am honored to work for President Trump and his team. These fake claims are false and defamatory and will not distract us from making America great again." Now, Epshteyn has served as a senior advisor to Donald Trump. At times, he served as an attorney for Donald Trump. He's rubbed plenty of people the wrong way, but this investigation is an indication to how seriously some around Trump took these allegations that Boris Epshteyn was trying to charge people essentially for access to Trump and those in his orbit, guys.
Yeah, let me be clear about something. I hope that you heard Sarah Murray say this. More than half a dozen individuals, more than half a dozen, have claimed that this is exactly what Boris Epshteyn was doing. On top of that, I watched on television as they claimed one of the people that he was looking for a big payday on is the gentleman who ultimately became the Secretary of the Treasury, Bissett. That's not the right guy. You're talking about a major, mega billionaire hedge fund guy who has his own connection and his own relationship to Trump. One thing for certain, okay, if it was one person or even two, and I could name them, I won't, but I could name them who I'm certain would be involved in that. But when you start getting more than half a dozen people all saying the same thing, and did you notice that even in his denial to the allegation, he doesn't talk about, what he intends to do if somebody defame me. It's not going to derail us from making America great again. Go right back to the Donald Trump slogan of 2016. That's not the way that you respond when somebody is claiming that you do it. And by the way, I see Boris doing that. Why? Because he has watched time and time and time again others like myself who are in Trump's orbit, who were brought on as consultants, and that happens routinely across the board. All of K Street are basically consultants that have some sort of a connection to someone in Washington. The difference with me, I didn't do it during a transition. In fact, many of the people that ultimately retained me as a consultant were referred to them by the president, by Donald Trump himself. It's funny, people say, how could you possibly be mad at him? He sent you customers or clients. Yeah, that happens to be true. But this is what Boris is looking for. They then discussed on CNN Boris's influence on Trump's cabinet picks and why he hasn't himself been named as a nominee for any position yet. Play that clip.
And Sarah, Epstein has rubbed a lot of people in Trump's orbit the wrong way over the years, but he has managed to survive. And notably, as all these top cabinet officials were being named and ambassadors were being named, his name was not among those in consideration, right? What is his status right now?
Well, he hasn't been offered a formal role in the administration, but one of the initial recommendations that came out of this investigation, we have learned from sources familiar with the matter, was there was a recommendation that Epstein should be removed from Donald Trump's proximity, that he should not be paid by or employed by Trump entities. And as of at least Monday afternoon, that does not seem to be the case. The Trump transition is saying this was a broad review of consulting contracts around the former president and that everyone is moving together as a team. And Boris Epshteyn has been in Donald Trump's orbit for a very long time. He's very used to the kind of knife fighting that goes on around now the president-elect. He's rubbed people the wrong way in part because he talks about his closest to the president-elect and also because of the access he gets to Donald Trump. And at least right now, that doesn't seem to be changing, guys.
Sarah Murray, thank you so much for bringing us that breaking news.
It will. It will. The more people that start breathing into Donald's ear negativity about Boris, what he's doing, and they start to show him the proof, that will be the ultimate end of it. Because look at what he did, for example, to Scaramucci after the 11 days. Look at what he had done to me. Look at what he had done to so many people who were substantially closer to Trump than even Boris Epshteyn. See, I love it how they all say, he's been his close advisor. Boris Epshteyn was not a close advisor during the 2016, 2017. He stuck around. He did what he needed to do for himself. But I want to show you an article that will kind of explain exactly what Boris is looking for. All right. This week we learned that it's quite possible that none of that is the worst things that he may have done. They're talking about Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump. And this came from Noelle Dunphy, who had worked for Rudy Giuliani back in 2019, where she filed a complaint alleging all manner of grotesque behavior by Rudy Giuliani. See, that's what Boris is trying to become. He's trying to become Donald's Rudy Giuliani. But here's, for example, what Dunphy said. Giuliani also asked Miss Dunphy if she knew anyone in need of a pardon, telling her that he was selling pardons for $2 million, which he said President Trump would split. He told Ms. Dunphy that she could refer individuals seeking pardons to him, so long as they did not go through the normal channels of the Office of the Pardon Attorney, because correspondence going to that office would be subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. Let me be very clear. Let's take Trump out of this entire equation. Despite the fact that it says that he was splitting, we don't know whether or not that's true or not. What we know is that Rudy Colludi, drunken Giuliani, was out there speaking, or at least this is the allegations by Noelle Dunphy, and asking people to go out. And by the way, this is also written by in Lev Parnas's book, where he told Lev the same exact thing as he said to Noelle Dunphy. If you know anybody that's in need of a pardon, send them to me. And this is what he was charging. They are, especially this group that's around Trump, and they will be Trump's ruination. Forget about Trump rooting himself. These people will be Trump's ruination because each and every one of them think that this is a giant grift factory, that they're going to fuck the American people, they're going to fuck the whole system, and they're going to do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, all for financial gain. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So I'm not claiming or stating whether the allegations are true or not. What I am saying He's not the first one in the Trump camp, or I should say the folks that surround Trump that have tried this. Some have succeeded, most have failed. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.